Hi everyone, welcome to the Stamping Society blog hop for August. Now I don't normally make a video, but I thought I would give an extra video, so you'll get one in the tutorial if you're purchasing or earning that one for free. And I thought I would do a video for this one because it is a box and I don't normally create 3D items, but occasionally I have the need to do one. So I thought I would do this and show you how I did it as well. So I'm just going to pop that aside, I'll pop it behind me. Now I did make a template just out of some scrap card because what I like to do is tailor make my boxes to fit what I'm putting in them. So when we were in Germany, 2 weeks ago now, we've been home for just over a week. So we were in Germany about, I think we were just arriving there. I picked up some chocolates and I thought I would like to create a little box for them. So I'm starting off with a piece of the Peacock, Pretty Peacock cardstock, and I've already done my template as said. So what I do is I measure roughly, it's a little bit bigger than the actual chocolate box. So I'm going to be doing mine 4 centimeters, the height is 2 centimeters, and the length is the length of the chocolate box, I'm doing mine at 22.5. So for the length to find out, I do 22.5 plus my 2 plus my 2. So I ended up with a length of 26.5 centimeters. And for the width, I need 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2. Plus, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a lip so that it tucks in. This one it's going to be an all-inclusive box. It doesn't have a lid. So I needed to have a total of 13 centimeters. Okay, so I have got in my paper trimmer here and I've put my cutting blade right at the bottom because I know that I always mess up and I usually end up cutting cardstock instead of scoring it. So I've got making sure that I've got my scoring blade up the top and my lip to tuck into my box, and you'll see as I'm going along how it all comes together, is just going to be 1 centimeter. So I'm just going to score at 1 centimeters to tick that bit off the list. So I'm going to start with 2 centimeters. I sort of swing my cardstock around a few times, so I'm hoping it doesn't get too confusing for you. But I'm starting at the 2 centimeter mark there. Mainly because it's using small cardstock. You could do 2 centimeters on this side. I find it a little bit trickier to hold on to, which is why I swing it around. So after I've done 2, I want to move at 4 centimeters. So the next one is at 6. I'm hoping that makes sense for you. So 6 centimeters. Then the next height is another 2, so we come across to 8 centimeters. And then we come across another 4, so that will take us to 12 centimeters. Okay, and then I have my 1 centimeter lip. Now coming around this way, we want, I think I've double scored that accidentally. We want a 2 centimeter edge because we've got the height of 2 centimeters. So we've scored that. I think when I moved up my last time it double scored. I must have moved my cardstock slightly and 2 that way. Okay, so hopefully that's all makes sense. Now I'm going to just score my lines. That way. Now, my 1 centimeter is on this side, so I am going to get rid of all of that. Okay, so take from the 1 centimeter edge, not the 2 centimeter, because that is our lid and our little enclosure lip. Okay, and then we just want to snip off a bit of an angle on that one. These are our closing flaps. So these the longer ones need to stay rectangle, and the smaller ones we can put a little wedge on. And then the same for this end. Oop, my stand is getting in the way. Okay, so you just want to just helps the box close a little bit nicer. And I love making boxes to suit the shapes that I'm needing, because pretty much they're all the same. Once you have one design, you just have to change your measurements to suit whatever it is that you want to put inside your box. Now I'm going to flip it over, and this is where our tape is going to go, and I'm just going to use some tear and tape. Tear and tape, tape and tear. Tear and tape. Oh my goodness, now I'm getting all mixed up. It is, yes, tear and tape. Because we tear it and then we tape it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Okay. It just gives it a little bit more of a hold. I found that the snail didn't quite do the trick. I'm just going to burnish it a little bit so I know that it's on there good and proper. Okay, one other thing I'm going to do while it's still in its open position is that I have a corner rounder. So if you happen to have a corner rounder, just give your corners a little bit of a, tidies them up a little bit rather than having them square. Okay, so I'm going to peel off all my tape. And then these will fold, let's see if I can stand up and show you properly. These will fold in like that. And like that. Okay, and there we have our box that has the little closure on the inside. Very, very simple, very quick and easy to make. Keep your template, make it out of cardstock. Here's my original template so that I knew it was going to work. So you can keep your template, or, you know, if you've got more to make, but if you're only making a one-off, then you probably don't need to make a template. So we're going to pop our chocolate in there and create our belly band. Now it does want to sit down a little bit, so a way to get away around that was that I could have made the flap, the closure 2 centimeters as well, so that it hit the bottom. But I'm going to leave it like that because my belly band will keep it all together. So I'm using a piece of the Pretty Peacock foil designer series paper, and I'm going to use my grid here to help me. I tend not to score them. I wrap it around and score as I go, mainly because if I tried to score it on those score lines, it won't fit. It needs a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak. So I'm just going to put one score line on my card, and you'll see what I do. So then I rest it along here, and I'm going to put another score line down here. But I can do that with my box, because you'll find that the box is probably like, you know, 1/2 millimeter bigger. If you did it the same, you would try and slide it on and it just wouldn't go, or your box would pucker, or, you know, it just wouldn't work. So the next bit I'm going to do, and I'm sorry if you are struggling to see it, I hold that firm and then score that one. And then the final one, I'm actually going to turn that around because the base of it is a little bit firmer, and score along that one as well. So that's how I do my belly bands, just so I know that they're going to fit nicely without any puckering of my box. So, like I said, I don't normally make a lot of 3D items, so trying for me to explain what I'm doing is a little bit tricky as well. Next, a little bit of tear and tape. Make sure that it runs the full edge, and I'm going to put my seam at the back. So this piece of belly band material that I'm using was 10 centimeters this way, and I do believe that I did 13, so that I know it would wrap around and give me a little extra for the, give me a little bit extra to cover. So round and round, there we go. Get it together. And then I can put that on there nice and firm and have it hold nice and snug. Voila! Slide it up to the top a little bit. Okay, next I have a piece of baker's twine. So I'm going to just tie that around in a knot. Like so, and just have it that, like that. So now I am going to do a pretty big tag, and I'm going to be using the Royal Peacock, which is our theme for August. I'm going to grab him off. He's a really big, I'm going to grab that one off at the same time. They are super big. Alright, this one I can put on this block. But this one, I need my big block. He doesn't fit. And a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I will be using the Pretty Peacock ink pad, and I'm just going to stamp him. Press down nice and firmly. I'm even going to stand up for this one because he is quite a big stamp, and he's quite lacy, feathery down the bottom. I just want to make sure I get all of him. There we go. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is to grab, because I don't have them beside me, let's grab my, make sure I've got the right one, grab my Versamark and my stamp here, and I need my, I've got everything behind me all still set up. Okay, so I'm just going to rub my embossing buddy over the top so that any oils from my fingerprints will not catch on my gold on my card. Now this one's a two-step stamping, so I'm just going to ink up in my Versamark. And to line up, I'm just going to stand up so that I can show you. To line this one up, there's like little dot things. Oh, I've got this in a completely wrong position, but the little dots go in between each of the feathers. So it does take a little bit of lining up, but then we just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Okay. Make sure it's all down, press nicely. This is probably where your stamper radius would come in handy, because if you missed any spots, you could go back and double stamp it up. Okay, put some gold embossing. Make sure you get it all. I think I've got it. I swear I need to get some bigger containers for my embossing. Okay, so I'm just going to emboss that now. Excuse the noise. Don't you love embossing? It still gives that wow every time you do it. From going from a powder into a nice molten gold. All right, just put my stamps out of the way. Now, one thing I did, so much stuff on my desk, I swear I say that every time. One thing that I did was just grab my aqua painter and just blended the colour out a little bit because I found that he was a little bit stark. So I just grabbed some of that colour from the bold, and even just the water will make that colour just bleed a little bit. Not all colours will bleed, mainly the darker ones. Probably your dark purples and pinks and blues will just bleed. So I've just been able to give him a little bit of colour without colouring in. So the next thing I need to do is cut him out. So from the die set, we have an image that will cut him out. So I'll grab my big shot. We're getting the really full tutorial today. Normally I will try and do a few things off camera, but it's a little bit tricky with this one. Okay, and you'll notice that our new dies actually hug the whole shape rather than, and I'm going to bounce up a little bit, they hug the whole shape rather than have a little bit of a gap. But when they cut, they have the gap. I hope that did not move then. So it will still cut with a white line around it, even though it's hugging the shape. There we go. Fuel, huh? I need to get some more Post-it notes. Okay. Now, I am also going to pop a little hole in his head. That sounds great, doesn't it? Just a little hole in his head. Okay, now I have done, after saying that I haven't done any off camera, I did do a little bit off camera. I have my sentiment already, and I love when you have scraps of your gold foil or your other foils, because we don't want to throw any of our scraps away. Just even the tiny little scraps can come in handy. So I'm going to pop that behind our tiny little sentiment, just so that a tiny little bit of it pops out either end. And then I need to look and see what I did. All right, and then that one got raised with a couple of these mini dimensionals. And I will pop him on his tail. That's exactly what I did, yep. So just pop him across the tail. And then what I did is I punched out a starburst shape from the gold foil, and I also raised the peacock as well. Just making sure that you've got it where you need it to be. Yep, got it right in place. And then all we want to do is thread. You might need to do a little bit of, I'll do that off camera, just coming from behind. Oh, now it's not going to want to work for me. Works every other time, and then as soon as I jump on and try, oh there we go, as soon as I jump on and start to film, it doesn't want to work. So then I'm just going to tie, whoops, tie him to, now if I'd had enough I might be able to, I chopped the other ones off and I didn't have a bow, but I reckon a bow is probably going to be, whoops, I don't think I've left enough. There we go, a little bow in there, and I'll just trim these little tails, but I think a bow is much nicer. Okay. So there we have it. There's my blog hop project for the Stamping Society. So don't forget, you can, to get the Stamping Society tutorials, you can place an order with us for the amount specified for each country. You can join our team and you can get these tutorials for free each month, or you can purchase them. So there's a few different options available for purchasing the tutorials, and we are all featuring the Noble Peacock suite this month. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again later. Bye.